Leonhardt. Why does nobody ever use you? Seriously, not a single stage clear video I've seen on YouTube has Leonhardt in it, and I kinda feel bad for him. He deserves some recognition. And that's why in this video, I will go through Leonhardt's kit, go through his talent, his skills, and explain to you why you should get him. Leonhardt is a 5-star splash caster, a subclass of caster that deals AoE damage. This subclass of casters have relatively high base attack, significantly higher than the core or aka single target caster. Hence why Leo's kit is all about maximizing that AoE damage. First, let's talk about his talent, Lethal Fragmentation. This talent increases Leo's attack based on the number of enemies in his range. At Elite 1, each enemy contributes to 3% of additional attack and can be as high as 18% at pot 6. When he's Elite 2, this number becomes 4% and maxed out at 24% at pot 6. So in a nutshell, this talent makes Leonhardt an absolute beast at clearing enemy swarms, particularly level 1-7 or SK4. That's the one that comes to my mind anyway. Leonhardt's first skill is trash. It may have a decent uptime of 30 seconds, but it costs 35 SP at level 7 and the damage is meh. Skill 1 gives Leo a 60% attack boost at level 7 and this figure can go as high as 84% with the buff from his talent. But in the end, it's underwhelming and not worth the mastery. Once you get him to Elite 1, just switch out his skill 1 for his skill 2 because I can tell you for sure his skill 2 is 100 times better. Speaking of which, skill 2, Deconstruct and Detonate, or as I like to call it, Nuclear Strike, is Leonhardt's bread and butter. It's a completely different beast and justify Leonhardt's role as a nuker because this skill 2 feels like a nuclear strike from above. With this skill, Leonhardt is able to clear swarms of enemies very easily, especially if they're light enemies like the slugs or these basic soldiers. His range also expands, equivalent to that of anti-air snipers, and dealing 200% arch damage and reduces enemy resistance by 12% for 6 seconds. And this stats is all at level 7 before mastery. And if you take the extra damage from his talent to consideration, you get an extra 24% damage, bringing it to 224% arch damage. What I like about this skill is that it only costs you 13 SP and can hold 2 charges or 3 if it's at mastery level 3. So this skill is basically a spammable high damage swarm clearing skill. This next clip shows the damage difference when there are 3 enemies in range and when there are more than 5 enemies within range. The difference may not seem that much, but since you're gonna apply this damage multiple times, it's gonna have a big impact. There are 2 ways you can use this skill. For the first method, after you activate it once, you wait 6 seconds and then activate it again. During that 6 seconds, you can have someone with arch damage to take advantage of the resistance debuff. You can use someone like Thorns, Aesthesia, Moose, or anyone with arch damage. Even casters can do this job too. The other method is to toggle his skill in succession for maximum damage, and therefore taking advantage of the debuff right away. I prefer the second method because it's much faster and yields higher damage overall. It's also kind of a force of habit for me as well. Before I continue, if you like what you've seen so far, I would highly appreciate it if you hit that like button so it can spread to more people. Sorry to interrupt, this is Kevin from the future. I completely forgot about Leonhardt's module, which adds 1 additional tile to his range. I think this module is worth getting because if you extend Leo's range, he has a bigger area for the enemy to walk into, and therefore, the attack bonus from his talent has a better chance to deal more damage. The requirements are shown below, just pause the video and read it, and with that being said, I will let the video continue. Now, time for the ultimate question. Should you get Leonhardt? Well, based on what I've talked about in the past few minutes, I've come to the conclusion that yes, you should give Leonhardt a try. His skill 2 is insane, has good uptime, and the damage is really good. But there are a few things you need to keep in mind. Splash casters, or AoE casters in general, are notorious for their expensive deployment costs. So when you bring them into battle, you can't expect them to be deployed early on unless you have some broken vanguards in your team. In exchange for that rather pricey cost, Leonhardt and other splash casters deliver a good amount of damage, and speaking of damage, Leo's damage mostly relies on his skill 2, so maximizing the use of it is really important to bring out the best of him. Let's also not forget his amazing collection of skins. Well, it's only 2, but still, they look amazing. Well, that is all I have to say about our beloved Crocodile Rabbit version 2. Let me know your takes on Leonhardt in the comments below, and if you want more operator spotlights, go check out this video where I talk about Tulopsis and her insane healing abilities. That is it for now. Thank you, goodbye,